It's a lot.
Let's get to planting. Did you like that?
Are you ready to see our new dining garden? I wanted to do this makeover over here and make it sort of budget friendly. Bon appetit! Are you ready to see our new dining garden? Let's go. And then in here is going to be our dining garden. Back here, we're still playing around with the shape. This is going to be our dining garden. This is going to be our dining garden. This is going to be our dining garden. Not much has changed. And I'm really hoping this can kind of be our before. So let's come in here and just take a look around and see what can happen. So when we were with you last, that was a few weeks ago. And in the last few weeks, autumn has really kind of arrived. It's gonna be, I think, 32 degrees tonight. So we wanted to go ahead and finish this up and just share this dining garden space with you that we've been working on. So for the dining table itself, we hopped over to our local Habitat for Humanity and found a table and kind of mixed it together with another table. So this is a temporary solution, but I thought it would be really nice just to have dinner out here tonight. So we've made a nice vegetable stew and we're gonna be having this out here tonight. Bert hung up some of these fairy lights and I think it looks so charming and magical. These dahlias here are from our recent dahlia video. A lot of these pumpkins and squash we grew on the property. A couple of them we picked up at our local market. And the main thing here is the plants. So we transplanted so many plants from around the property, and this whole thing was sort of a budget makeover. We wanted to do this makeover over here and make it sort of budget friendly. And the best way to do that with gardening is just to divide the plants that you already have. This was amazing, and we got so many plants out of this. So at this time of year, you know, this isn't a great time to do a garden reveal because we've already had some really cold temperatures and we're getting our first frost, I think, tonight. But the real reveal is going to be next spring when everything starts to come to life. And so many of these plants, you know, this was a budget-friendly makeover, you know, old tables and, you know, divided plants from around the property, spreading seeds from around the property, transplanting things that were in pots, dividing things, moving other plants, and, you know, foraging for plants on the property as well. So this has just been so much fun to see how much we can get into this space for free. So much of what's here are things that we know grow so well here, are things that we know that we love. We've planted almost all of our favorite plants in these borders. And so come spring, I'm just so excited for it. They're not looking 100% right now, but still they look wonderful. And it's just so encouraging to see that they've all taken and they look really happy and settled. So I wanted to just kind of guide you around, walk through what we did, and just share all of these plants that we got for free. So these Hakonakloa here, Japanese forest grass, we divided these because I wanted to create large swaths of plantings, especially in the back of this garden. There's a little rock wall that surrounds it, especially on that side, the hillside. So we wanted to plant up swathes of perennials behind the rock wall, and I think the effect has been awesome. So this Hakana Cloa we divided. These have been here for 3 years, and at 3 years, that's a great time to divide the plants just for the health of the plant themselves. And then you get free plants. So we divided those and spread those around. Then we had other Hakana Cloa. We moved a few of them, divided some of those, and made little clumps. And I think the impact is so much better that way. Here we have some astilbe, this purple astilbe. It grows so well here. I think when the owners left, they just took some of the plants that were at their home and just put it in this like foot-long border just along the front of the cottage. And I think they just had a few of these astilbe, and they have spread like crazy, which I love because I happen to absolutely love astilbe, especially this purple one, which blooms in August. I also like how the little spires look even after the blooms have faded. They're this sort of ivory green color. They're really pretty. And then the fern-like foliage, they're just gorgeous and a wonderful ground cover, especially for weed suppression and managing the water in the soil. So we have the Hakana Cloa, we have these astilbes. One of you suggested that we plant Thumbergia here. So we planted that, and that's been climbing up, and I think it looks really great. So thank you so much for that suggestion. We have this red heuchera here that was in one of our spring containers that we did. We have my favorite geranium. This is the Spessart geranium. Wonderful smelling foliage. If you've been here for any amount of time, you know that I am obsessed with this plant. Tons of forget-me-nots. So we spread the seeds from all kinds of things. Foxgloves, forget-me-nots, another great way of just, getting more plants for free, just self-seeding. There are clusters of forget-me-nots and foxgloves already forming. We had a few of our Brunnera. They weren't doing well in the position that they were in, and I love them, particularly in the spring. They are just gorgeous, and they had started sort of spreading and creating new plants. So we divided those and brought those over here. We have some Tiarella here as well. Beautiful pink stems on these, and then that burgundy center, really gorgeous. And then we have a primula, a yellow primula over here. So a lot of these are going to bloom in the spring, and that'll just be so much fun. We painted our gate, which is really nice. This is in the color conifer green. Very pretty, and it matches our other gate and our doors now, which is really nice. This ivy will be okay for the winter. We'll have to pull the impatiens, but we'll probably put something in there for the winter time, maybe some evergreens. We've just sort of made these two bean cutouts symmetrical, so that's going to be exactly the same as the other one, and I think it'll fill in really nicely. There are also a few anemones here as well. Look at the foliage, it's so pretty. Okay, this border, I think, is the one that has changed the most and just looks incredible. So before, there was just one Hakana Cloa here, and now look at that. I just think that's amazing, and it's having the exact effect that I wanted. I want this garden to feel very peaceful, very enveloping, very natural, and I think it's really achieved that look. We have this urn that's, I think, really nice. I got that in New York City this season. Some of the other things that we planted back here were ferns. So we have tons of interrupted ferns that were on the property. This area is really well known for its ferns. They're just everywhere, and they love it in this area. So we're very lucky to have inherited so many beautiful ferns, which are one of my favorite plants. We decided to create a little hosta border here. Again, all of this is just, it's looking a little tired and sad right now, but you just have to have that vision of what it's going to look like in the spring. So we're going to have all of this Hakana Cloa, which will bulk out, and then all of these hostas. So we transplanted a bunch. We divided some from other places in the garden. They divided really well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hostas here. And then we divided some violets and put them together in this cluster around the rocks. And I think that's going to look really pretty. These are like a purple and white. Then we have sort of creating a little river in the back here is the sparkly, beautiful lamium, and that's a purple lamium, just gorgeous. We mulched everything with leaf mold. That's fantastic, and if you don't know how to make leaf mold, I think I want to create a video about that because it's like garden gold. It's so fantastic. We got these were the only two that we didn't divide from the property or use from seed, but we were actually given these by a lovely woman. But this is pulmonaria, 2 different lungworts, and yeah, these were actually from Equinox Valley Nursery, which we took a tour of recently. So yeah, that's some pulmonaria. Again, this, can you just imagine the spring interest in here? I'm so excited. I want to come in here with some bulbs because I just think, oh, it's going to look amazing. I think blues, some Chianodoxa, things like that are going to be fantastic. So what else do we have? We transplanted some anemones over here, which is going to be great. I wanted to, like I said, do clusters of things, whereas in the cottage borders, I like to do one of each and kind of stagger and repeat. Here I wanted to do little groups, little clusters kind of woven together. And I think it's going to look lovely, especially when they play off of each other. You know, the pulmonaria has that broader leaved foliage with the speckles on it. Lungwort is the common name. So it has those speckles and the leaves themselves, I guess, are shaped like lungs. I haven't really made that connection with them yet, but that broadleaf with these, the more wispy, grassy texture here of the Haconocloa, the broad, wide heart-shaped leaves of the hosta. My breath is already, can you see that? I need some gloves. There were some things that were already in the back here that we had started. So we had Mahonia, I think, and a rhododendron and an azalea. They've never done well just because we didn't have the deer fence up this past winter, and so the deer came in and ate everything. But yeah, a few of those are looking okay. And then Bert came through and planted all of these Christmas ferns. So all of those darker leaved ferns. And the reason that they're called Christmas ferns is if you take one of the little leaflets, they kind of look like stockings, like Christmas stockings. I sort of ripped that, but that's the idea. Maybe you can't tell at all. But so those Christmas ferns, and for us, most years, those are evergreen. They stay green until about March when they're sort of really tired of the cold and the snow, and they're like, we're done here. But that'll be great just to have some of that interest. And then he also brought that huge rock. So from a distance, it might look like it's a piece of wood, but this one here is a rock. And isn't that beautiful? Won't that look gorgeous? I think we're going to collect some moss and start to sort of try and create a little ecosystem here with some moss on there. But how pretty is that? I just think that's so nice. It's kind of, letting you know where the border of this garden is. But yeah, look at all these ferns now. And then we have some periwinkle back here. We have, what's the name of this one? Ooh, Bishop's hat. Starts with an E. We brought a stump over here to match the other side. These pots are sort of starting to go over, but on this side, we have this really gorgeous viburnum. Very soft, fuzzy leaves on that one. And the fall color is gorgeous. You know, it's not super easy always to find a red color. And so that red is really, really pretty. We have some dianthus here. So that'll be a really pretty strappy blue foliage. That'll be really nice. A pink flower, again, transplanted from a pot that we planted over up in the springtime. More astilbes coming through here. So this, like I said, the garden is so tricky with the lighting in here, but I think as this viburnum grows, and I think as we have things come in, this will be like a part sun, part shade area. So we'll get a little bit more sun in this area. So we planted some Nepeta in the front and divided those from around the garden. Now this is one that looks bad everywhere in the garden. It's like very tired and kind of done for the season, which, this is such a doer. It grows so beautifully. It's the first perennial to flower really in our garden, and it's just fantastic. It's one of my favorite plants, and I just love how it cascades into the walkway. So I thought it would do the same thing here really beautifully, just sort of like tumbling over the rock wall. And we kind of built up the rock wall a little bit here, so I think that'll be really, really nice. We have some purple astilbes here, and then we have the creamy white astilbes. And those white ones, the ivory ones, they bloom a little bit earlier. And there's a bat. This is so autumnal, isn't it? Like we have bats, we have like pumpkins. That's so nice. But yeah, I think that'll be really, really nice. We had a Monarda here, and it just wasn't getting enough sun, and I think it was just not very happy. So we transplanted that, and I'm excited to see that one. But we have some periwinkle that we put around the garden and divided, but yeah, I'm so encouraged and excited. Oh, back here we have two the green giants. And when we planted them, they were really, really small. They looked pretty miserable, but we had been told that they could handle a little bit more shade than most evergreens. So we tried these arbs, and you know, they look pretty happy. Weirdly, the one that gets more shade is kind of bushier and looks a little bit happier. So yeah, it's just sort of interesting. And then this one was already on the property when we moved in. I don't know what this plant is. I'm assuming it's a native because I've seen it all along the roadsides and things. But I think that is such beautiful fall interest with the red berries and these beautiful red leaves. That is just so gorgeous. Next, you know, what we want to do is just come in here, and I'll tell you, yeah, let me bring you over here. So in these bean cutouts, the idea is that we want to create this hydrangea garden over here. So we want to put in hydrangeas, and there are plants on the other side that I really want to replace with hydrangeas. So we have some forsythia, and we want to replace those with hydrangeas, and then planting this whole back area of these beans with hydrangeas, so that all of these perennials are just sort of like the second story. And then we have these hydrangeas in the back. I think that'll look beautiful. I think it's far enough away from the trees that they'll get enough water still. The trees, you know, the tree roots won't be soaking up all that water. And I think they'll be, hopefully on this side, definitely they'll be getting enough sun. So maybe 3 or 4 here, taking up that space, and then a few back here. So these are forsythia here. And that's a dogwood. So we're placing this to match this hydrangea. This is a beautiful Invincible lace hydrangea. And then we want to do the exact same one here, because I thought that would be nice around our little arch. And ooh, a little arb that we planted the first year we moved in and got mowed down, and then miraculously came up. The deer can't hold me down. And replacing these forsythia with more hydrangeas. And I just want to do all hydrangeas, you know, macrophyllus. I want to do panicle hydrangeas, Annabelles, like just trying everything. And I think having those kind of come up in here where we get a little bit more sun and a little bit more light, and even kind of spreading over there, like this whole area. Can't you imagine that just filled with hydrangeas? So as you look from the rose arbor, sort of the front of the cottage border, this is just all you can see is hydrangeas. And then we'll sort of see, we can test a few, maybe Gatsby Gal or any oak leaf hydrangeas in the back where it's a little bit shadier. I think that'll be really, really pretty. But please share your ideas, because I love all of your ideas, and it's so fun to be able to connect with you in that way, where you come up with an idea and I try it and it looks really, really nice, like that Thunbergia. I think I'll repeat that there. It's so fun to have that. So I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. This has just been something I've wanted to do for so long, is make sense of this weird semicircle space over here that seemed impossible to garden. And now we've created a whole garden space for free. I hope it looks as good as it feels in person. It's always hard to know. But thank you so much for joining us. Like this video if you like, subscribe so that you can see everything in the spring. It really does help us since we're a small channel and we're growing. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I can't believe we're like almost at 20,000 subscribers. I cannot believe that. Can you believe that? Anyway, thank you so, so much. Hopefully subscribe so that we can get to 20,000 before the end of the year. That would be really, really cool. Anyway, thank you again so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Bon appetit!